Hello. Today's topic will be on U.S. immigration and policies, and I'm going to be bouncing around a bit, addressing some various topics that are related to. A couple of days ago, I was watching a video from a YouTuber named Liberal Hive Mind, whose topic was on our current immigration. It was very well done, and after watching it, I wanted to do a bit of my own research and add my thoughts to the topic as well. I want to start by saying, again, I am not political. There's just way too many congressmen and presidents who don't even come close to representing their constituents anymore. And since it comes from both sides consistently, I can't really choose a side anymore. Having said that, the main reason I absolutely abhor our federal government over the last 40, 50 years is that they rarely address current horrific laws and fix them. Here are but a few examples of thousands. NAFTA. NAFTA has been an absolutely horrific for the United States. NAFTA. NAFTA has been absolutely horrific for the United States. Yet, it's still there on the books. Congress could easily address this law and overhaul it unless they are concerned of hurting Mexico and Canada's feelings. It's a law that gave both those countries arguably the greatest business deals in their country's history. NAFTA has been a grand slam for those countries off the U.S. citizens' backs. Congress can fix that piece of shit document now, yet nothing is done. Obamacare and the Education Act. Absolute shit and completely unattainable. Fix it. I mean, look, I don't care that Clinton and Obama had those two shitty bills passed. All they did was sign it. We've had plenty of time to look at both of those disastrous bills in action, and they are horrible in every way. And there's still, today, right now, 27.6 million people without health insurance. And I've addressed the education bill previously, and guess what? It still sucks. And both of them are crushing our economy. Everyone, and I mean everyone, knows how terribly shitty both these bills are, and they do nothing. Zero. And of course, nothing ever gets fixed. Immigration. So, would someone, anyone in Congress, tell me to my face that what we're doing regarding immigration is working? You guys need to get off your self-serving, self-righteous, incompetent asses and fix the fucking problem on our southern border. The incompetence of our Congress knows no bounds. The annual cost of our half-assed failed border policies must be in the hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Let me start with this. I usually blame presidents for specific things they do outside of what Congress brings for them to sign. Congress is the one who puts pork upon pork upon pork in every single bill. Google a bill, any bill you want. Go look at it item by item, and you'll laugh your ass off or cry when you see what's really in them. Congress is the group that votes straight ticket, meaning there's no way, no chance that one party member, either Republican or Democrat, agrees with one another. That's the main reason those douchebags get nothing done. Congress agreed to go into Iraq. Congress agreed to NAFTA. Congress agreed to Obamacare and the education bill. How about the Patriot Act? Congress agreed to, quote, temporarily pass the Patriot Act as an important band-aid to ensure American safety from terrorists. The Patriot Act was probably a great bill for the few years it may have been needed, and they said that's what it was intended for. However, the Patriot Act passed on October 26, 2001. Section 215 of the Patriot Act violates our Fourth Amendment, period. There is no fucking reason, none, that our privacy rights, which is a huge, huge part of our constitutional liberties, has been circumvented for almost 22 years. The Patriot Act, or whatever its current name is, must be reverted immediately. I'm no U.S. history major, but if you're going to suspend an amendment of the Constitution, bring it to the floor and either make a new amendment, suspending the Fourth Amendment, or follow your oath of office and reinstate the fucking amendment immediately. Look, we can't undo Congress's voting for the Iraqi war, but NAFTA, Patriot Act, Obamacare, Education Bill, and many, 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 many more laws that have been passed need to be fixed immediately. Yet Congress acts like it's some big fucking secret that everyone's forgotten. Fix them. They're garbage. There's nothing, zilch, nada, that you're doing in Congress right now that is anywhere in the same stratosphere as those horrible bills. There is nothing, zilch, nada, that you're doing in Congress right now that is anywhere in the same stratosphere as those horrible laws. So fix them. Is anyone in Congress surprised that their approval rating usually hovers around 10%? We know it's a power grab to represent your district, but let's say you're a congressman representing the people in Zanesville, Ohio. Why do you always seem to vote with your colleagues representing, let's say, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, etc., 99% of the time? I call bullshit. Voters of probably 90% of this country have no voice. As soon as our Congress gets together after their elections are over, they're simply told what to do, what to vote on, and they all comply, both parties equally. Many countries for many years have had people who run for various offices as they know it leads to wealth and privilege. It never, ever dawned on me that it could happen in the U.S. based on our laws. Obviously, I'm not naive to believe it doesn't happen, but now, my gosh, if Congress is in charge of making laws in a country, we're spending over $6 trillion a year and having to borrow 1.6 trillion because 4.6 trillion just isn't enough. And then they pass the dumbest, shittiest spending bills that leads to the $6 trillion. That's why I'm starting to think many of them have crossed over the line. Whereas I used to think it was maybe just a few, but our Congress, not you or me, our Congress spends $16.4 billion a day. All right, back to immigration. Little rant there, sorry. There are finally some sanctuary cities that are actually trying to pay their fair share in helping out California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. The southern border states have been taking it up the ass for years with no help. Finally, the governor of Texas said enough and started busing immigrants to all these do-gooder cities, and almost immediately these cities are saying no mas. So the theoretical horseshit sanctuary cities like New York City and others, cities that have mocked California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, finally gave up. After 17 months, that was it. Here are the overwhelming number of migrants bust from Texas so far. Maybe these numbers are so astonishing, martial law should probably be considered. How many migrants have been bust in Texas? New York City, since April of 2022 to June 2023, Texas has sent 8,200 migrants, about 586 a month. Chicago, April 2022, June 2023, about 2,600 or 100, 2,600 total, 186 a month. Washington, D.C., 10,000 migrants, a little over 715 a month. Big numbers, right? Well, New York Mayor Eric Adams. How would you handle dealing with the number of undocumented immigrants crossing at the southwest border for fiscal year 2022? Ready? 2.76 million. 2.76 million in 2022, breaking the previous annual record by more than 1 million. Can you imagine one extra million immigrants? This is from Customs and Border Protection data. That's around 181,333 a month. Nice job, Congress. New York City Mayor Eric Adams said, quote, once we finalize how we're going to continue to live up to our legal and moral obligation, we're going to announce it. Until then, we're just letting people know what we're thinking of and how we're going to find creative ways to solve this man-made humanitarian crisis, unquote. Adams said this at some unrelated event. However, the Mayor Adams pointed to Texas Governor Greg Abbott as being partly responsible for the current situation. Quote, I think the governor of Texas and others are at fault for creating this man-made humanitarian crisis. That's what I think, he said, end quote. Well, Mayor Adams, I think you're a fucking clown who has no clue, none, how bad our southern borders are, and you've already thrown in the towel. Besides crying over the overwhelming number of immigrants, could you imagine if Mayor Adams had to deal with vetting first? How about this? Quote, since the launch of Operation Lone Star, the multi-agency effort has led to over 384,000 illegal immigrant apprehensions and more than 29,000 criminal arrests with more than 28,000 felony charges reported. How much of that did you have to deal with, Mayor Adams? In the fight against fentanyl, quote, Texas law enforcement has seized over 419 million lethal doses of fentanyl during this border mission, unquote. It's a shame that before they started Operation Lone Star, that Mayor Adams wasn't available to lend his expertise. Anyway, Mayor Adams said he has spoken with the mayor of El Paso and told him New York City cannot accommodate this many asylum seekers. The mayor also said the city has been in contact with Abbott's office, adding the Texas governor and his team have not been open to communication. Wow. New York, again, well, you picked another winner with this guy. Let me repeat, Mr. I hate foreigners Adams. Could you imagine if Mayor Adams had to take the thousands upon thousands of illegal immigrants in daily, which includes weekends too, Mayor? I mean, New York City taking in 10,814 months in total gets him running for a camera crew. Yeah, it's okay to tell Texas how to handle their immigration policies, moron. Mayor Adams, you're an embarrassment, and now you've invited the whole country in to see it. Just go back to destroying the great city of New York and stop wasting your valuable time on outside projects. Adams reiterated that New York City is still a sanctuary city, but stressed it is unable to handle such an overwhelming influx of migrants. How about this, Mayor? Why don't you come up with an ordinance that states you're a sanctuary city, but you will not take in any immigrants? That will show everyone that you're a problem solver, too. Mayor Adams is obviously very supportive of our current immigration policy. Mayor Adams agrees with our current immigration policies, yet can't or won't do his part. Mayor Adams and every other sanctuary city in this country. We all hope you vetted every immigrant coming in thoroughly, as we certainly don't know how many murderers, rapists, thieves, etc. have been sent to your beautiful cities. Could you share with the rest of the class how you're doing that? Mayor Adams, your city is taking in 118,800 total migrants over the last 17 months, averaging around 7,000 a month. You completely support our immigration policies, yet at only 118,800 over 17 months, you are quitting. Again, taking 118,800 immigrants over 17 months is a slow couple of weeks in Texas migration. Mayor Adams and the people of New York City, I have a question for you. Do you think the immigration policies of this country are working? Mayor Adams, for you to gain any, and I mean any respect from people in this country, you need to send Governor Abbott an apology and ask him and his staff how to fix our immigration policies now. Oh, and to add more comedy to the political folly, we call New York, Mayor Adams and Governor Hochul, I think that's how it's pronounced, Hochul, you want to rescind the right to shelter law, a law that has been in effect in New York City since 1981. The right to shelter law gives all who are in New York City a universal right to housing and sanctuary city status, where your city agreed to house anyone and New York City taxpayers will pay for it. So, why do you think so many migrants want to go to New York City, you fucking morons? Again, why are you complaining instead of fixing the law if you can't abide by it? Governor Hochul, congratulations on becoming governor. I haven't looked over your record yet, but I'll start out by saying your immigration policy sucks. You need to immediately call your fellow governor in Texas and ask what you can do to change your immigration laws immediately. Make sure Mayor Adams is also on that call. Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams need to just stop finger pointing in the blame game. You finally had a small taste, a very, very, very small taste of what your fellow southern states have been going through for years. You guys ran to govern. Congratulations, you won. Now fucking govern. Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California are thousands of miles away from New York City, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Seattle, etc. And for years, you've let your constituents know how open-minded, caring, whatever, while mocking those southern states for not handling their immigration policies. Now, 17 months later, you've taken in, spending billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, and now you're spewing doomsday rhetoric. Do you think it's free to handle the migrants in Texas, California, New Mexico, and Arizona? It's easy to sit back on your couches and just say, whoa, why are we letting so many in? Or even worse, sitting back saying, I don't understand what the problem is when you're in the middle of, let's say, Iowa, because you'll never see the problem. Let me help you out here, though, with it. It's a problem. It's a huge fucking problem that only a few states have the displeasure of dealing with on a minute-to-minute, everyday basis. Why is this Texas, California, New Mexico, and Arizona's fault or responsibility? They're the ones getting screwed. Do you have any idea about the number of illegal immigrants that live in those four states? Okay. Grab a pen or pencil. Ready? In 2022, there were 2,378,944 migrant encounters. In 2023, there have been 2,388,350. So, you Monday morning sanctuary city quarterbacks, why aren't you helping your southern states at all? How many outside of those states who have been bitching and moaning about why the border states haven't taken care of the problem, their problem? And again, our do nothing Congress, well, does nothing. Remember, I'm only here to point fingers, but I'm also here for solutions, and I have two options. My two options could overlap each other, but so what? They're my options. Option one, you get the people in charge of immigration from, again, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California, and you ask them to write up their recommendations for our immigration policies at the southern border. When they come up with one, they will present it to the House Speaker and head of the Senate. Once they've read it without making a change, or not one change, they will allow 5 Republicans and 5 Democrats to read it, and nothing can be added to that bill. Finally, the bill is written up, the 4 states are happy with it, sent it to the floor, and if it's not unanimous in both houses, then any idiot who didn't vote for it will have to spend 6 months on a cot working on the border. I believe that language should be in the bill. Number 2. Now, this is not a new idea, but is by far the most effective. We will need no wall, and this will immensely help out our southern border states. Furthermore, it would make crossing the border into the United States 1,000 times more efficient for our border agents, as immigrants would only be able to walk through designated areas. All right, from the Pacific Ocean to the Gulf, we put up a chain link fence. No need for barbed wire, just a 20-foot chain link fence. Now, from the Pacific Ocean to the Gulf, we put up another chain link fence, same size as the first one, but we put it about 40 feet apart from one another. And then what we want to do is in between those two fences that are 40 feet apart, we put sand all the way from the Pacific to the Gulf. Any type of sand will do as long as when it's raked over, it's level. All right, here's the key. You will need to post signs every 10, 15, 20 feet on both sides of the fence, all the way down. That makes it extremely obvious that in between the two fences, from the Pacific Ocean to the Gulf, that we put about 20 million landmines. This would make the border crossings much more efficient and orderly. And if someone makes it over from the fence, give them automatic citizenship, and they're allowed to become a congressman. Mayor Adams, every sanctuary city, and 99% of Americans have no idea, none, how bad and how horrific and completely inexcusable our southern border is. Who the fuck has an open border anywhere in this planet but us? Currently, we have 15. I want to put it in context, the size that we're talking about of people coming in. Currently, we have 15 states that have a smaller population right now than the undocumented immigrant crossing that came to our border last year alone. If you include last year and this year, in total, we have 28 states that have less population than the immigrants that have crossed the border in the last 24 months. At what point do we just say, fuck it, be done with the travesty, and have Mayor Adams and our esteemed congressman write a bill to annex Mexico? To leave on a positive note, here's an oldie but goodie. Feel free to come up with your own and send it in. I'd like to hear it. New York has one of my favorite slogans. New York, a city so nice, they named it twice. Well, it's now my second favorite slogan after the one I came up with. New York City, a city so nice, you fucking morons voted for de Blasio twice. Anyway, thanks.